Hello and welcome to the Ralph Sampson episode of the Hoop Theory Podcast, aka episode 83, which is in honor of him being the first pick in the 1983 NBA draft. My name is Logan Wertman, recording this one on the evening of Thursday, May 9th, and as usual, I am joined by my embryonic co-host, Jacob Roth. Jacob, how does it feel to be on the Ralph Sampson episode?
It was pretty good. Embryonic.
Yeah.
Is it like an embryo, like a little baby?
Yep.
Exactly. Goo goo gaga.
It's just
cry about my Celtics.
Of an embryo. Yeah.
I am of an embryo. Well, I think all of us are. Just formerly.
Yeah, that's true.
I am post embryonic.
Glow up. Yeah, your post embryonic glow up.
You should have seen me when I was just a couple of cells. Oh, show them my balding giant forehead there for a second. Anyway.
Yeah, so I guess jumping into basketball talk right away, we can start off with one guy who I don't know if he's going to be in the NBA next year.
He only got suspended for 4 games. That came out today. Did you not see this?
Oh, no?
He got suspended for 4 games.
Is he going to be on a team, though? He's not... Okay. Because he's not with the Bucks still.
Is going to need a roster... Oh, it's Pat Bev, by the way.
Yeah.
We should probably... Sorry. You say the story, then we can dive into the looks.
Yeah, so Patrick Beverley just chucked a ball at the end of the game 6 against the Pacers when they lost. They were eliminated from the playoffs. The Bucks were. And apparently there was something said. I don't know what it was, but somebody said something to Patrick Beverley from the stands that he took issue with and decided to...
It was a constant chirping.
Okay. And so he decided to throw a ball. From his side of the story.
Something else was said other than, like, Cancun on 4 or whatever.
On 4? Who doesn't count on 4?
I was saying Celtics and 4.
Oh,
you gotta be
gotcha.
5. But Cancun on 3. And then that's when he threw the ball, but it was chirping the whole game, apparently.
Yeah. So the first throw, he kind of like lobbed it up to like a few rows in and hit a lady in the face. And then he like... The people reacted as though they were confused why the ball ended up there. And so then like the fans were kind of like, oh, here's your ball back, and like kind of toss him the ball back. And as soon as he caught it, he just like beamed it right back at the guy's head that threw it at him. Not a very good look. And that was right at the very end of the game. And then after the game in the locker room, he was being interviewed by...
Which this is the non thing to me.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get
because he's
suspended
done this all
for something.
Year. Every
Really?
single time he's been in a media huddle, it's, are you subscribed to the pod? Subscribe to the pod. Subscribe to the pod. It's all year. It's not a new thing.
And he won't answer anyone's questions that is not signed to the pod or subscribed to the pod?
He will respond to their question with, subscribe to the pod, or are you subscribed to the pod?
Okay. I still find that like dumb. But...
It is, but it's not like it's like he picked this one woman, like everyone was like saying, "Oh, because it was a woman, you said subscribe." No,
I didn't think it was. I just thought he was in a bad mood. I just thought it was because he was in a bad mood that day, after that game, and then was deciding to be a jerk to somebody. Honestly, is what I thought it was. But
probably the tonnage of the "Are you subscribed to the pod?" might have been a little bit more zesty than normal. Yeah. But it's been kind of his shtick for the year as he departs his way.
Yeah, and he also asked her to leave, like, because she's kept standing there, and then he was like, "Go away if you're not subscribed to the pod." But he has apologized since to her. Did you see
directly? I believe.
Yeah, he called her. Did you see Nick Wright? His whole thing that he did.
Okay, Nick Wright.
That was amazing.
Just give this man his flowers. He was cooking Patrick Beverley. He roasted him over the coals. And it was with receipts, and it was with logic, and it was with determination, and I was all about it. Shout out to Nick Wright. that was 5 minutes of art on TV. That was art.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I didn't know that he had such a history with Patrick Beverley. Apparently, Nick Wright, for some reason, was in Houston. Was he like a beat reporter or something in Houston?
I'm not sure. I know Nick Wright from when he linked up with Colin Cowherd.
And
that is a big reason why he is around. But yeah, apparently prior to joining Fox Sports, is where he's at now, he was a radio host in Syracuse, Kansas City, as well as Houston.
Okay. Yeah, so that's where he would have got to know Patrick Beverley, or at least got to witness his career.
Mediocrity.
And mediocrity. Yeah, so that's just an interesting little story that I thought we'd want to at least chronicle a little bit. Is Patrick Beverley's weird behavior continuing? He's a 35-year-old veteran at this point and doing dumb stuff. But
yeah, it's just a weird thing that he does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But so he's going to be suspended apparently for the first 4 games of next season, which is not that big of a penalty. I wouldn't expect it to be crazy big, I guess. It seems like him and Draymond kind of both have this thing of like, it's a pattern, it's repeated behavior.
Yeah.
So it feels worse each time that he does another thing.
Okay, I have one thing to add. We talked about Colin Cowherd briefly. Colin Cowherd, who is the one that like pays for Draymond Green's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Like Draymond Green is an employee of Colin Cowherd for this podcast thing.
Yeah.
He said about the Patrick Beverley situation, I wouldn't let one of my employees do that.
What?
Draymond Green is an employee of Colin Cowherd. So you're right. Your employees cannot verbally berate people, but they can assault them on national television. It's a great look for Colin Cowherd.
Yeah, at least Draymond didn't throw a ball at somebody's head, I guess, but he didn't do anything.
He threw his foot, which I argue would do more damage.
Yeah, well, it wasn't at a fan, but yeah,
that's true.
I wouldn't argue that Draymond's was any better, I guess, but it just is. I think it's a even worse look when you're just throwing balls at innocent people in the stands.
What if they called him the N-word?
But the people who actually got hit with the ball looked like they had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
It seemed like they were like
looking ones.
Well, I mean, the one girl wasn't even looking and then didn't even understand like what happened, that she got hit with a ball, and then the guy like gave him the ball and then he just tossed it right back at his face. It was just like seemed a little like unwarranted.
Weird.
Yeah. But that's just me. I guess I'm going to go out on a limb here and just, be on the side of don't throw objects in people's faces.
I agree. I concur. Whether it be fists or basketballs, just don't do it. Don't be whimsically throwing things around.
Yeah, but that Cowherd thing was actually really funny too. That he had, because
like it could have been anybody else, because ESPN is no longer letting Pat Bev be on their programs as a guest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is pretty big
as part of the repercussions, which I think also would probably put a little bit of a ding into his future plans as a member of the media, which is what you like have to imagine he's trying to set up.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Bucks are no longer in the playoffs, and the team that beat them is being
kind of
screwed over. I will put it very diplomatically. Game 2, I will not pin as much on the referees as I will Game 1, because Game 1 was absurd.
Yeah. I thought at the very least the kickball was so dumb. The moving screen, I don't have quite as much of an issue with them calling that. Like I do. Oh, you do?
Did you watch any of the Celtics Heat games? Bam Adebayo he got away with murder. If that's murder, he's a serial killer. So the fact that you call that honestly an insignificant illegal screen, like in terms of like as bad as illegal screens go, that one's like right at the line of what an illegal screen is. It's not like this egregious. You know what I'm trying to say?
I get what you're saying because it's not literally a moving screen. It's by technicality a moving screen because you have to allow the defender a step, and you can't like that's a specific rule in screens is you have to be set a lot far enough away that you're not like directly under somebody as they're moving into you.
It's like a blinker. Like a blinker when you're turning, it has to be like, I think you have to have like 3 blinks before you turn. You have to let the defender like not see you, but like the step is a big part of it.
Yeah, they can't just be, you can't meet them. They have to choose to go into you, basically.
Yes, it's not a meet me at the rim, but it's nowhere near the rim, and I'm just essentially tackling you without wrapping up.
Yeah. But
that's literally the only way that Bam Adebayo sets screens.
Yeah.
Like
he comes right under somebody. Yeah.
And so that's why I am like, the fact that they called that, and it was a crew that didn't call any of them when Adebayo did it in Miami. Not a single one.
Same group of guys. Crew?
No, obviously, Bam does it every game. It was just, some Celtics fans was like, this was the same crew as in the Celtics game 3 against the Heat, blah, blah, blah.
I'm sure there's probably just like one of the same refs because they mix up.
I don't think it's the same, yes.
Yeah.
Probably just the same head ref if I had to guess.
Zach Zarba. Which Zach Zarba, a lot of players, he's year after year voted the best ref in the league by players. Not as fans, like I think a lot of us see him as, at least for me with the Nuggets, I think Zach Zarba, every time I watch a Zach Zarba refed game, Jokic all of a sudden is getting to the free throw line. Like getting things that he normally doesn't with other refs. Because I don't know, I think Zach Zarba is a lot more reasonable usually, but in that game, yeah, there was definitely some blown calls down the stretch, and the kickball was the big one that I was just like, why even in that situation? It's just like it was not even in the half court, and the way that the ball, even if it did hit his foot, his leg, his knee or whatever, it looked like it hit, his foot was still on the ground. So even if it did hit his knee, that's technically not a kickball. Your foot has to be off of the ground for it to be a kickball.
Also, I have a question. Is it like weird that kickball violations are like everywhere in high school basketball, and then they just kind of disappear, and they're like a once a playoff series occurrence in the NBA? Is it just because like the passing gets better?
There might be part of it. Also, more space to cover, like in the passing.
Oh, that's true. That's it for sure.
I mean, Jokic 2 years ago or last year, one of the years recently, was like 3 times the person in second for number of kickball violations on the season. He had like 100 and something, so he averaged more than 1 a game. Like a year ago.
But he's like 3 times the guy behind. A
guy in second. Yeah, which is wild.
And if you think about how many games there are total,
and
then only Jokic is averaging at least 1 a game, it would really boil it down to like barely ever occurring.
Yeah. Usually, yeah. So you don't see it a lot, to be honest. Yeah,
but it's definitely the space. You just have there's so many more places for the ball to be that's not in the path of your foot.
That's true. Yeah.
And I also don't think that in the NBA, it's as, at the high school level, and maybe even to a certain extent the college level, like, making them go and, like, run something is not a negative. But in the NBA, those ran plays that come after kickball violations are so polished that, like, as a defender, it probably puts you at a disadvantage than just not letting that one outside of the arc pass go by.
By the analytics, it wouldn't be a disadvantage, but it's definitely not as much of an advantage as it would be in like high school.
At lower levels where you don't have those very polished like plays. Anyway, that was kind of a little bit of a rabbit hole on that, but yeah.
So I guess was there anything else you wanted to talk about with that Sixers, not Sixers, but Pacers, Knicks ref conundrum?
No, I just think that it is like, I get if you want because we both agree, I think we both agree, when the Knicks are good, it is good for the NBA.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't think we need to hold their hand to the extent of what it feels like was done, especially in game 1. And I think it would have happened in game 2 if Jalen Brunson didn't say, my foot doesn't hurt, I'm going to go nuclear. Hold my beer. Like, he was just so. Also, shout out to Hartenstein. That dude has somehow turned it up in the playoffs and is like a double-double knocking on the door of triple-double machine.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's been getting better by the month, it feels like, last few years. And
also, I am worried a little bit about the longevity. It's a Tibbs team, but I think it has been single-digit minutes that Josh Hart has sat this playoffs.
Total? There's no way that's true. There's no way that's true.
He's played 48 minutes the past 2 games.
I know that. But you're saying in all of the games this playoffs, it hasn't amounted to at least 10 minutes total?
Let me check. I will check while you dive into the next series.
Into the next series? I mean...
Okay, this is why. It is because of the game that went to overtime. It messed with like the average numbers that someone did, and I didn't think of that. But no, he played 48 in game 2.
He played 53 minutes in one game, I think.
53 in game 6. Yeah. 46, and then but that 53 rose all boats, so he's averaging 40. What is it?
6.5, I think. 46.5. I want to say is what I've heard recently that he's averaging.
Yeah.
46.5. So yeah, if you subtracted if you subtracted 5 minutes from the total, then it would be under 10, which is the 5 minutes extra.
If you get rid of the entirety of what overtime would have been. But that's where this person, because I read it, I'm like, that's crazy. But then you like look, I'm like, I mean, he's played 48 minutes in 3 of his 8 playoff games.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But
it's pretty wild.
And honestly, he's only had one like bad game.
Which game was that?
I think it was game 5. Like, he couldn't hit a shot to save his life, but he also had like almost 20 rebounds. I could pull it back up again, but I don't want to do that again. So
yeah, it's hard to call that a bad game then, yeah.
No, it's not a bad game to everyone at ESPN, even if you don't score like I'll have a Celtics rant, sorry. We'll do it at a different time. Unless you want to do it now, because we're in the East.
I guess before we move on to that, the Knicks, I did want to mention that in the first round series, I felt like there was a lot of effing over jobs that they did against the Sixers. At least 2 of them. There's 2 games that were like pretty majorly decided by the refs. It felt like.
This is one of the games we feel differently about. Like, we've texted about it, right?
Game 2.
I think
is
so.
the one you're.
Where it was like, I think it's like
not. It's either game 1 or game 2. The one where DiVincenzo hit the 3 at the end.
Yeah, but it was that whole scramble.
Yeah,
and Maxey never had possession. I
didn't think that the call. I don't think that was the wrong call there, really. But technically, they should have had a timeout.
Okay. Now I'm tracking.
Yeah, and especially the closeout game 6. There was just so many moments in that second half that it just kind of kept like dogpiling on. That like every single break, it felt like the Sixers were just getting like the short end of the stick every call. Not necessarily any like egregious ones, other than the Jalen Brunson one. That one was egregious. The Jalen Brunson offensive, well, it should have been an offensive foul. How when he did, it's like the booty ball thing. How Trae Young and Chris Paul used to put people in jail.
BBL Drizzy. I'm sorry.
And launch themselves backward into the defender and then shoot. Yeah. That he got one of those in like the 4th quarter. Like late in the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
And they gave it to him. Like, he got free throws.
No, they're giving Jalen Brunson absolutely everything and more. Yeah. Like, I am not trying to disrespect the construction of this Knicks roster, but like, this is not like, this doesn't make sense. How they're getting to where they're getting to.
I mean, they're a pretty respectable.
And I guess squad. It's not that. But if they end up in the finals, I would be like,
they're in the very weak side of the bracket, is why they're where they are.
Like in a position to maybe just end up in the Eastern Conference Final.
I don't think the Knicks are. If they're better than the Cavs, it's not by much. You know what I mean? Like you're not going. It's not going to be a vast difference.
I think the Cavs have the best player. No, I don't.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds like not your opinion. It wouldn't be your opinion, but based off of how much you don't like Donovan Mitchell.
I said that backwards. I think the Knicks have the best player, but the Cavs have like the next 2 or 3 best players in the series matchup.
For sure.
Is what I meant to say, but then I now am realizing that it sounded like I was in favor of Donovan Mitchell.
I think they have the next 4. Unless
wow.
OG Anunoby over Darius Garland, maybe.
Because it's Jalen. This is a hypothetical that doesn't. I guess it's hoop theory. It's a theoretical thing. It's whole idea, whole point of this deal. So you'd have like, if in a series, Jalen Brunson would be the best player, Donovan Mitchell,
and then I would say Jared Allen.
Depending on, and then it gets into like a depending on the day.
Yeah, Jared Allen, Mobley, and Garland are all around the same range, but then Anunoby would be in that same exact range with them. Yes, I feel like
it depends on the day for I think all 4 of them who the third best player would be.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's
But going back to Hartenstein though, I did want to touch on him just because I was like the only. I know I feel like I say this type of thing a lot, but it's just because when I have them, I tend to remember them and I want to talk about them because I have a podcast. When Isaiah Hartenstein was on the Nuggets, I was like the only Nuggets fan I knew of that liked him. Like everybody was like get him out of here basically. But I loved actually like how he played in the second unit, how he had like, somebody putting pressure on the rim. I don't know. I thought he was a good presence and like made good plays. It seemed like he had potential, and I wanted to keep him around, but he barely was in Denver. We gave up on him pretty quickly, and then he bounced around a little bit more before he ended up with the Knicks. And then he's just, through all of Mitchell Robinson's injuries and him coming in and doing a really good job, filling in for Mitchell Robinson.
14, 12, and 8?
Yeah, 14, 12, and 8.
That doesn't feel like a random kind of insignificant role player center, which is what most people look at him as,
Mm-hmm. And I mean, he's been starting for a while now, and he's been good in that starting role. And and
I think the more important part, it's on like a 71% field goal. He's not like taking a ton of shots to get to the 14. He's just like, oh, this is brain dead. I need to take this layup type of thing.
Yeah. He's a roll man who can pass out of the short roll and set good screens. That's like kind of the whole package offensively. And defensively, he's a pretty decent rim protector.
I mean, he dealt with Embiid, not great, as Embiid got his, but it's Joel Embiid. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Yeah.
So shout out to Isaiah Hartenstein doing good stuff. It's weird seeing him as a starting player on a second round playoff team. But
here we are.
Yeah. So I guess moving on from that to the Celtics. We want to dive into the Celtics really quick. Your frustrations with the ESPN, the Disney affiliate.
Okay. So the thing that irritates me is Jayson Tatum game 1 had like 18 points, 0 for 5 from 3-point land, like 8 for 19. It was not a good offensive night. But then they like didn't bring up that he had like 3 blocks and like 12 rebounds and 8 assists. Like a double-double with 3 blocks and 2 assists away from a triple-double. That's not a bad game.
Yeah, not at all.
And when you win by 25, I will double down on the like, he doesn't need to like try to force offense. Tonight, for example, where apparently, fun fact, if you catch the Celtics game 2, shoot every time you touch the ball outside the 3-point line because it's going in no matter who you are.
Yeah, it's true. It was game 2 both times.
Yeah. This one was not as egregious as the Heat, but
in the finals last year against the Nuggets, that was the game the Heat went crazy in also. Game 2.
But before garbage time, the Cavaliers were shooting 54% from 3-point land. I was not able to diligently watch it because I was on solo dad mode. So I couldn't like really get into the nitty gritty if it was another bad closeout defensive game by the Celtics.
Yeah.
But like tonight, 7 for 17, 25 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. That's not great, but it's fine. We just didn't get much. Everyone else had just kind of a meh game. No one else scored 20, which I know I'm struggling from success, but that's not normal. That we only have one guy get into the 20s.
Mm-hmm. And excuse me for asking, because I haven't watched much of this series so far yet. I just know that without Kristaps, you must be playing Al Horford a pretty heavy
29 minutes.
29? Oh.
They're like doing a weird half and half with they're sliding Tatum down, playing more Pritchard, and then they're also bringing Tillman in for a little bit more off the bench. Luke Cornett's getting some time.
Okay.
They're doing like a committee to fill in Kristaps instead of dumping it all on Al.
Okay, that makes sense. I was about to ask, my main question was going to be, is Jayson Tatum playing some minutes at the 5? Because he would have to, right?
You're right. I haven't even thought about that.
Yeah.
And honestly, if it's only Evan Mobley,
yeah, I mean,
if they don't have like a Jarrett Allen to like really bully the crap out of you.
I mean, Jayson Tatum is like a pretty a lot of teams when they get their small ball 5, like Jeff Green, I'd say is like the literal archetype of the modern small ball 5, and Jayson Tatum is literally just like a 24-year-old Jeff Green, like body type wise,
Just better.
And then
obviously. I also think that Drew Holiday has done some help. I haven't been able like both of these games. I have not been able to really truly nerd out and lock in like I usually like to. I keep track of them. I watch them on my phone, but it's not like I'm watching for 48 minutes type of watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was able to during the good old Heat series.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It's all good. We are on to game 3 in Cleveland. Knotted up 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried at all.
I wouldn't be either, to be quite honest. Even without Kristaps, you guys should be good.
No, I don't think we see Kristaps unless we are like fighting for our lives in the middle of the Eastern Conference Finals. We won't see him until the final. I truly don't believe we will see him until the finals. Unless we are like, ooh, this is a battle for the ages against what is assumed to be the Knicks.
Yeah, unfortunate for you, especially if Indiana keeps playing the way that they have been and maybe get a game or two.
Gets a game or two.
Then
more time.
You might be meeting a very worn out Knicks team by the time.
Which I think even if they sweep them and we can get things done in 5, I feel like they still will be worn out.
Yeah. I mean, OG Anunoby is hurt now, so.
And it doesn't seem great, which is very a bummer. Because I loved this. Most of the games have been OG on Siakam. OG on Spicy P.
That's been awesome to watch.
Injected into my veins. I love it so much.
For
and
sure.
I don't know like the who's homies and who's not, but they seem like they got a little bit of an extra like edge at each other. Obviously, you'd have that if you're playing against a buddy too. But like it's like
Siakam is like that with all of his friends. I've noticed that over the years.
That they have like an extra.
Siakam is friends with, he looks like he has really dirty plays that somebody should get ejected for. You know what I mean? And it's like, that he's just friends with that guy. That's all that was.
It's like Kobe and Pau Gasol in the Olympics.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, I'm gonna run through him.
Yeah, there was like one a couple years ago with Pascal Siakam, like very flagrantly tripping Joel Embiid, and it was like, but then they were like cool about it after, like when he helped them up, they were like, because they're both from Cameroon.
Yeah, they're homies.
Yeah, but
that's crazy. So. Also, I'm glad to see both of them not the fact that they're not in Toronto, but both being used to what I would consider full potential on teams that are good.
Yeah,
is that a fair?
Yeah,
a fair
for sure.
Sentence statement.
Teams that really could use their services in a winning environment.
Their presence directly raises the floor of the teams they're on. I would say to a pretty intense degree.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But no, other than that, I'm not going to keep rambling about the Celtics. I love Derek White. Always will.
I have one more question about the Celtics for you, and that is about Jimmy Butler, more so. That thing that you said, I don't even know where that was. He was on vacation somewhere, it looked like. Maybe he was just in Miami, I guess. But somebody asked him, I don't remember who he was talking to, but he said something about how if he was healthy, that the Celtics would be at home and the Knicks would be at home. I'm guessing that means because he would have beat the Sixers, is what he means by that, if he didn't get injured in the first quarter of that play-in game.
Yeah.
So then he would have been playing the Knicks in the first round instead. And then Pat Riley said, if you're not playing on the court, then shut your mouth.
And also, would it have been closer? No, duh. But also, outside of the game that they won, the closest game was like 18 points.
Yeah, not close. I agree.
No,
maybe they'll win one more game, maybe, but like I don't think.
Yes, if it was like one bucket, like down to the wire, absolutely Jimmy Butler's enough to like me feasibly believe that the Celtics would be home. Yeah. But it wasn't. It was double-digit beatdowns outside of your all-time franchise, which is a pretty good franchise, if you were wondering.
Yeah.
In terms of playoff shooting, like you hit 23 threes and only won by 10. Mm-hmm. That's the stamp I need. In the loss for the Celtics, they only won by 10 after they hit 23 threes.
Mm-hmm. And 23 Heat threes is a lot different than like 23 Celtics threes.
Yeah, 23 Celtics threes is a normal ho-hum, back to work we go day.
Yeah.
But 23 Heat threes is the equivalent. Yeah, it's just...
That's wild.
It is wild, but Celtics, and I'm going to say 5. I feel, even though it's mathematically impossible, I feel stronger about 4 than 5. Or 5, sorry. 5 feels stronger about 4 than 6. But it's obviously impossible.
You're saying for this Cavs series? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, obviously that's...
I could see 6 for sure, but I would probably bet on 5 if I had to pick one.
The reason I say 5 is I don't think the Cavs go up 3-1, and I don't think they lose in Boston again. Wouldn't that mean it'd be... Oh, no, I did my math wrong. You're right, it could be 6. I did my travel math very incorrectly.
Yeah, so because they get to 2 wins, then yeah. So, but I guess the Pat Riley thing that I brought up, I just wanted to make the comment of, I don't know if there's any like GM or like executive, team president to like star player relationship that could have like a quote like that. I don't know. I don't think there's another one in the league where the GM of a team can just sit up there and be like, shut your mouth, don't talk, basically just publicly say this thing like pretty tersely to their star player. Like, and also it being like not an issue at all. At least I assume.
Like no one reporting on it being an issue.
Yeah. Like, I mean, people, it's a story because it's like, oh, whoa, that's crazy that he said that. But I'm sure Jimmy Butler was just like, yeah, it's a good point.
It takes like 2 special characters for it to be a thing. You know who I think it could happen to? Tim Conley and Ant somewhere down the road.
I feel like Tim Conley's just not that kind of...
But he wouldn't say that. Yeah. He wouldn't say that. You're right. Also, my favorite tweets, as we'll talk about the Nuggets, have been... it's a picture of like Tim Conley like kind of licking his lips. And it's like people will capture like, this freak's probably thinking about rebuilding the Detroit Pistons. I'm like...
Yeah, I saw somebody say that he needs to just like every 2 years change teams and build a team specifically to beat the team he just left.
So then the NBA is one giant rock, paper, scissors of Tim Conley's construction.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, do you want to jump into yours? Or do you want to?
Yeah, I think it's a good segue.
Yeah.
Into the reason why I wanted to make sure we get this recorded. We're recording this right after a Celtics game got over. I don't know if people have caught on to that. Normally we don't record on Celtics games nights, but I wanted to get...
Or Nuggets. We try to avoid them. Sometimes we'll do Nuggets ahead of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
Yeah, so I didn't want to sit too much longer. I wanted to record, I guess, before Game 3, which is tomorrow night. Because the Nuggets are in a hole that is very unfamiliar, going back several years now.
Ever.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
It's pretty wild.
Like, even like old Nuggets that weren't great, they won at home. It's the fact that like you're like down 2-0 and aren't going back home to like Let's cobble something together.
Yep. We're going to Minnesota. And like after I've sat on it for a while, I have a lot more faith in us being able to pull this out, because the more and more I think about it, I think game 2 was just, a lot of it was pretty fluky. Like obviously we probably would have lost that game regardless. But I don't think it looks near the way, like based off of game 1, I felt like we were in that the whole time. Like, yes. I mean, we were up with like 7 minutes left, you know? So, I mean, we were in, and that is weird. That was weird to watch, because obviously Ant turned into Michael Jordan, and down the stretch he just killed us. And so it was weird. Normally when we're up with 7 minutes left, that's like Nuggets have sealed the victory already, basically.
Yeah.
You know? And so seeing that not turn out the way it usually does was, it felt like we were close enough to where just change some things, come back, get a better game out of Jokic, who didn't play great and played even worse in game 2.
He played really flustered, it felt like. And that is a word that I don't think I've ever put on Jokic since like he was solidified as the starter. Like fluky's a good word for it. It didn't feel real almost. I'm like, what am I watching? This doesn't feel normal.
Yeah, it felt like Jokic honestly just kind of gave up really early on, I would say. And like in the first half, after Malone threw his fit, and then after the Jamal thing, which we'll talk about in a second, but I felt like Jokic just, when he came back in, he was doing a little bit of, but it's just he was playing so careless, and it just seemed like he really didn't want it all that much, especially in the second half. It's like he made no effort to try to dig into the lead. And that's just not something I'm used to seeing from Nikola Jokic. Is left a very rotten sort of taste in my mouth after that game, but hopefully we are able to bounce back. And I just feel like a really big detail that not a lot of people are talking about is the fact that Gobert wasn't there, and nobody knew that was going to happen until shortly before the game, within like an hour of the game. Something like that.
No, it was reported normally. He was listed as questionable the day before because he has to be. The definitive yes or no was not there until like the hour before tip, whenever they have to report it. But he was on the report as questionable for family matter or whatever that family thing is. It wasn't like dropped on him.
Really?
Yeah, I can double check, but I'm almost positive. I remember reading about it before the day of the game that he might not be there.
Oh. Okay. For some reason, I've heard some people talk about the fact that the Nuggets were preparing for Gobert, and then like the Wolves were not, saying that he wasn't going to be there or not until, which, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I didn't know. I guess there was a possibility of him not being there. So I'm not sure if that was reported or not, but you're probably right, I guess, if you did see that the day before.
Because I think his kid was born the 3rd, which was the day after game 1, I think.
Oh, really? So his son was not, or I don't know if it was son or daughter, but his child was not born on that day that he was missing the game?
I'm trying to find it. Like when it was first written that he will be gone.
Yeah.
At 8 a.m., at the minimum of 8 a.m. on the day of the game, because this is when this article was written that I'm reading, from the NBA, it says that Rudy Gobert will be out for personal reasons.
That was at 8 a.m. on the
8 a.m. the day of the game.
Okay.
So it was at least a 12-hour notice.
Yeah. Okay.
At least.
That's fair.
Granted, the day of isn't great, but you also only have, was it 2 days in between the games?
I think there was only one, because it was Saturday to Monday. Pretty sure.
It was the morning of May 6th is when the baby was born. So it was the morning of the game.
Yeah. That would
make
sense.
I had that mixed up. It was the morning of the game, but at 8 a.m., he was listed as out.
Okay.
According to the NBA, which I'm assuming is what the Nuggets would go off of.
Yeah, so, but anyways, I guess what I had heard from the DNVR Nuggets podcast, they were talking about it as like the Nuggets were prepared for playing against Gobert because of, the Minnesota defensive scheme in the first game was very unique. It was like
It's like Chris Finch had been sitting on it since last year's playoff exit and didn't use it during the regular season. He was just stewing and waiting.
Yeah, it was like an addendum on their normal advantage that they have, and it's a thing that a lot of people go with, which is guarding Jokic with not the rim protector. They put another guy on Jokic and have the rim protector roaming off ball, sagging off of Aaron Gordon because he's the only non-shooter in the Nuggets starting lineup. But then on top of that, when they were guarding the Nuggets 2-man game,
and this is in game 1.
Yeah,
correct. Okay.
Mm-hmm. They were having the big that was on Jokic in the 2-man game. So the guy that was hedging on the screen, he's basically just completely ignoring Jamal and just taking away that roll pass from Jokic, just covering up Jokic.
And trusting McDaniels or Nah to just
take away the jump shot.
Yeah,
so basically contest from behind because, in this rare scenario, it makes it a lot easier to do this when you have Rudy Gobert on your team. That's why us nerds out here that have been, trying to say that Rudy Gobert is very valuable for a long time. This is one of the reasons why he's so valuable is because now from a defensive standpoint, a defender chasing his man around the screen doesn't have to worry about getting back in front of his man to recover. He just wants to make sure he's right behind him, taking away that jump shot so Jamal can't pull up and take a jumper.
Because essentially then at that point, it's 3 guys. Rudy Gobert allows you to have 3 guys defending every screen, but he's not there.
Uh-huh.
He's just back in the paint.
He's just waiting, stepping up in the paint, and then so you're basically taking away the jump shot coming off the screen and forcing Jamal, kind of funneling the ball into the paint to Rudy Gobert. And so that was their game plan, and also it helped that Jamal is still hobbled and is like his burst is just not there at all. And he's also being guarded by 3 of the best players in the league to guard him.
Guarding him.
Yeah. Which is just, and they're just taking turns. They're all just rotating.
So they're healthy. Like not healthy. They're
staying fresh.
Yeah. Fresh.
And so that was just ugly. So they were, preparing for all that stuff because Gobert was also putting on a masterclass when they did have that advantage where it was like Jokic got the ball in the short roll, which is like, a lot of people's favorite time of Nuggets possessions where Jokic gets the ball in the short roll and we have Aaron Gordon creeping up from the dunker spot. Gobert was showing on Jokic, like basically contesting him, saying like, I'm here, you can't take the floater, but then somehow would also play the pass, play the lob. He took away like 2 lobs. I've never seen.
Because he's Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
And that's the only, him and Wemby are the only human beings on the planet that could maybe do it. Maybe.
Exactly. It's like I've never seen anybody take away that Aaron Gordon lob pass like in that situation before. And he did it twice in the same game. It was like, that's crazy. And so I think a lot of their focus had to be, on figuring that out. And figuring out how to use Aaron Gordon better on offense in order to, not allow Gobert to keep doing what he was doing. And then they come into that night and they're spaced 5 out the whole game. They're playing no non-shooters, the Wolves. So it's a completely different team. And then on top of that, they're playing with an extra fire and competitiveness because they're like, oh, we're without our defensive anchor. We're all just like mad men.
We got to lock in. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're going crazy. They're like, it was very physical. I'm not saying that like, oh, it was egregious. Like there needed to be fouls and things like that.
Thank you. I'm very glad that you have that purview because the clip that all Nuggets fans are circulating being like, look at the flagrantness of all these fouls on this full court coverage on Jamal Murray. I think it's just Jamal like selling contact, which is not bad.
Yeah,
it's like
you're talking about the one with Jaden McDaniels and I think it was, or like swarming him. Yeah,
and he's like, it's going back and forth.
Yeah, I don't know if there's much there
because he's like the hands up and Nas behind him like this, and then Jaden McDaniels picks him up and then he tries to cross back over and like kind of gets clipped, but like it's not. I don't think it's to the point where it's like a foul.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's other clips that you could have shown that are like that's probably a foul.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
The fact that that's the one that's circulating over and over again, I'm like. people just don't know ball.
Yeah, I think
I
it's
don't know
just
if that got like
the reason why is because I think that was like one of the boiling points for Jamal's frustration. And so he just kind of like, he was like, what am I supposed to do? And the way he reacted there was like, I don't know, it made a clippable moment. Yeah, and he did the money thing.
Which is...
And he said that to Reggie Miller at the broadcasting table. He said something like, these refs are betting on the game, or something like that, which is a wild thing to say.
We can jump into, yeah.
But I guess the one thing I'll say before, because you just applauded me, I guess, for saying that, it wasn't like there were
specific It was a physical
plays.
game, but it wasn't like the Nuggets were out. They weren't out to get the Nuggets officiating.
But the thing I will say is it did feel like they were letting so much contact go on one end, but then there was a lot of just little ticky-tack things going the other way, which was frustrating. I don't think it stayed like that for very long. I think it might have...
game?
Game 2.
Oh, okay.
Because it was during that same stretch where all of that physicality was going on early in the second quarter, or mid-second quarter maybe. And on the offensive end, when the Nuggets were on defense, there was just a lot of plays that it was either like just something that was like, it looked like it could have been a pretty clean block, or things like that. That's just like, it felt like all of those calls, when they were the equivalent on the other end, it was the opposite direction. But it was a very small sample to go based off of, but it was just like that happening right there, plus with like the Nuggets' frustration, I think is just what made everybody really on edge about it. And then everything just kind of kept stacking up on top of that, to the point where Malone got so mad at the cat no call, which was egregious. That one was egregious. Can we agree on that? The cat is just shouldering straight through Jamal Murray, and like it was like,
and then the thing,
that has to be a call. That's not
to backtrack, nothing. But then Jalen Brunson did it last night, and it also didn't get called. So I was like, this is hilarious. But sorry. Which seems weird that Jalen Brunson did it to someone, but he actually did. He like went into through somebody, and instead of going through because he's cat, he went like little Jalen Brunson throw, but he like football tucked the basketball and just shouldered into somebody. Yeah. Anyway, but that should have a zillion % of the time been called on cat.
Yeah. And so then after the next dead ball, Malone runs out there and is screaming in Mark Davis's face. And I was very surprised Mark Davis did not give him a tech. Mark Davis just matched his energy right back.
I think Malone wanted to get ejected. I think he was trying to get
for sure.
Any kind of juice. I mean, and that's also like a Malone play almost.
Yeah. He does that a handful of times a season, where like every once in a while when he feels like he just needs to give somebody, like give the team some juice, he'll just run out there and fight for one of his guys, and he looked like he was going all out, like he wasn't going to leave anything on the table. But then Mark Davis just like screamed, like he kind of just did the same thing back to Malone and didn't give him a T, which I actually really respected. I don't really like Mark Davis usually as a ref, but I thought that was, I like that. And then
one thing, because I was not to combat your takes on the game, but knowing that a lot of our listeners are Nuggets fans, the Nuggets shot 4 more free throws and were called for 6 less fouls that game.
So we shot 6 more.
So you shot 18 free throws as opposed to 14. T-Wolves shot 14, and then obviously free throws. They got called for 20 personal fouls.
Yeah, I wonder what the first half looks like.
And I didn't get those statistics.
Yeah. I just wonder because because the second half just felt like they gave up. Like, it was. I just don't think we were playing physically at all. Is probably why
I can see if I can find it. I don't know how I would find that, but I can try.
Yeah, it's not that important, but it's just a thought that comes up when I hear that. But overall, still, it's just, it feels like that was not a game that was necessarily about the refs. Like that, it was more about how the Nuggets responded to the refs and reacted. And it felt like, we were getting a really big punch in the face from the opposition, from the Timberwolves. And we just decided to whine about it instead of punch back.
T-Wolves fouled 1 more time than the Nuggets in the first half.
Okay. Yeah, so it's
off
not
of my counting.
Major difference at all.
No. But sorry. And again, that was not to like gotcha, But that was I have been on the T-Wolves bandwagon, so I don't want to say like I was pro T-Wolves because I would like to go maybe see a finals game if I can get my finances in order.
Yeah.
And I guess I could do that in Minnesota, but I wouldn't. I would only go if it was Nuggets Celtics. But it was weird because it felt like I remember a couple years ago in the West, there was like this rock, paper, scissors at the top. And it just feels like this was the most rock, paper, scissors matchup possible, is in like the T-Wolves might struggle against other teams, but like when you turn on playoff basketball mode in terms of how games are officiated and then everything with that, it's like, no pun intended, like an insurmountable mountain for the Nuggets to climb. Like it feels, despite having Jokic, but like having a hurt Jamal Murray, having Aaron Gordon, like I'm glad you can score 20 points when you are like an afterthought. In terms of like the T-Wolves don't care about you. They're like daring you to do anything.
He was still the worst plus minus on the team. Yep.
By a half. Ooh. Yeah. Minus 33. Next closest is minus 21 by MPJ. Yeah. Also, you got to get a better shooting night out of MPJ. It was just the stars aligned game 2. But it just, if it was 1-1, it's an entirely different universe. But it's a 2-0 hole, and Minnesota is also not it's not the Nuggets hard to play at. But the Target Center is not exactly going to be a welcoming environment, I'm sure, for Denver.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, obviously, I'm not sitting here saying that the Nuggets should be favored.
No, I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying that, like, because I feel like the Nuggets are like a not close, better team. It's just the way that it's literally their kryptonite. Like, oh, you have an answer for Jamal Murray, and as much of an answer as you can have for Jokic, you have that also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tim Conley's a dirty dog.
Yeah, I would agree.
I mean, he did a good job, but like, he built a championship roster that's a juggernaut, and then left and then built the equally good of a team, not equally as good, but like a very good team that happens to like hard counter the team he left. That's a juggernaut.
Exactly. Way more like just aggressively than anybody would think. Like just based off of like people hearing that, like it's as much as you could imagine. It is directly like tailored. Yeah, blatant for sure.
Cause it's like, okay, I'll get it's literally, he was like, okay, Jokic and Murray's two-man game is like 95% of the problem I got to worry about.
Yeah.
So I will get 3 people that can deal with Jamal Murray, go get the only center in the NBA at the time that can do this weird thing that like shuts down Jokic and also Jokic's assist ability out of the hub of the Nuggets offense.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last roaming guy, I'll just have him follow around MPJ and make his life kind of suck. It's wild.
Yeah. No.
It's
definitely.
And then I think the Ant's offense is gravy for him. He's like, I didn't think that this would be the case.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is crazy.
Him being as good as he is.
And it's not because like it's not the Donovan Mitchell crazy high points, but the 27, every one of those 27 points feels like a dagger. All of them. Like he is that
Cat
one
was
crazy...
honestly probably the best player in game 2. Overall, in the series, it's been Ant in both the games
game
combined.
Because Cat, they had like 20 points in the first half.
Yeah. Cat was like insane, honestly.
Yeah. He was hitting threes and yeah.
Doing
also, 6th man of the year. Shout out.
Yeah.
Nas Reed.
There's
a guy that's doing $20 tattoos in Minneapolis that's just the word Nas Reed in Times New Roman. And I was like, that'd be kind of a cool tattoo if I was a tattoo guy. That'd be kind of like if you got like a sleeve and there's just Times New Roman, Nas Reed.
Yeah. But the other thing I do want to mention about the Nuggets here while we're still here is the KCP matchup. Like just our guards, the 3 guards on our team. Because I'd say that Christian Brown leans a little bit more wing than guard, but he can count as a guard as well. But the 3 guards
as a Christian Brown stan, did you see that he's the only one that had a positive plus minus in game 2?
Oh no, I didn't.
He was the only Nugget.
How many minutes did he even play? It felt like
he only got 11.
Why? That was so stupid.
No, I texted you it as a joke. He just needs to be in the...
That's not usually how it is. That's weird that for some reason
in the playoffs it went this way.
No, not even in the playoffs so far. He's been playing more than that. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, for sure. Christian Braun has definitely been playing. I feel like that has to be his like lowest minute so far, for sure. Because he's been like him and Reggie Jackson and Peyton Watson. Those are like the three main bench guys.
Mm-hmm.
And why you in the like the fact that our the three guards that play a lot, which is Jamal, KCP, and Reggie Jackson. All three of them have leg injuries right now. Reggie Jackson looks like he might be out in game 3. I don't even know if he is. I haven't checked.
I can check.
And KCP is struggling with what he's struggling with. But even in the regular season, I made note of this back in like November or whenever the first game happened between the Nuggets and the Wolves this year. I made note of KCP, yes, is a great backcourt defender. I'd say an all defensive level guard defender. But he cannot guard Anthony Edwards. KCP is just too small for Anthony Edwards. You know what I mean? He can stay in front of him, but he can't contest anything that Anthony Edwards does. Christian Braun is far and away the better matchup physically and everything for Ant. Like the only thing that is a drop off from when you switch from KCP to Christian Braun defending Ant is KCP can basically stick to Ant like glue, like no matter how many screens you set on him to try to, spring him off of Ant, like he can usually just fight through them or navigate them and stay on him. Christian Braun is not near as adept at that. So if you really need to get Christian Braun switched off of Ant, they can usually get that. But when the two players are defending Ant in isolation, Christian Braun is way better at it. He just matches him physically way better, stays in front of him, can contest like his shots like at a level that's just, I don't know, just there was multiple stretches throughout the season that when we've faced the Wolves and we've had Christian Braun on Ant just all of a sudden doesn't look like he can do what he wants against him. So I would even go as far as to say that we should start Christian Braun in this series, to be honest, to start on Anthony Edwards, because, and some pushback that obviously a lot of people would have to that is like, you don't just change the best starting five or, what has been the best starting five in the NBA this season. You don't just change that in the playoffs, but I'd say you do when you're going against literally the team built to exploit that
starting five.
Yeah. The structure you have to change things up a little bit. And I think that's the change to make, to be honest, is bringing Christian Braun. Or I wouldn't even mind like not playing Aaron Gordon as much, or making him like in the starting lineup, bringing in Christian Braun and maybe even Justin Holiday. I don't know, to like have actual shooting across all 5 positions. So there's not anybody that Gobert or Romer can sag off of. So, I mean, I don't know. That just feels like I would like to see what that would look like. You know what I mean?
Even instead just a test.
Yeah.
Even if it's a we had a rough 10 minutes, a rough quarter.
Mm-hmm. To see what it looks like,
and we know it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Type of approach to it.
Yeah.
One thing that I would like to bring up is I personally believe that Jamal Murray should have been suspended for Game 3. If it was only one of the events, don't suspend him. But between the money, which has got people fined and suspended before, the money
suspended?
Signed.
He's gotten somebody suspended for doing the...
I'll have to double check, but I looked and I believe someone got... Maybe it was in tandem with something else.
I know Gobert got fined, but I don't think he got suspended.
But then combined with that, and then throwing things on the court not once but twice.
Wait, what?
He threw a towel that got onto the court, and then somebody grabbed it, and then he threw the heat pad.
Oh.
Like he's 2 separate entities trying to get Mark Davis's attention through.
I didn't even know about the towel, to be honest. When did that? Yeah. Did that happen before the heat pad?
It's the same sequence. It's like.
It's when right after Kyle Anderson's stupid flop.
Yes, they're all standing there. It's yeah.
That made
It's
me
that
so
same
mad.
time down the court.
Yeah.
It's like not the same timeout or anything. It's the same.
So that's the other egregious no call. But like the thing is, they don't call those flopping technicals for whatever reason. But I just hate that. That was one of the worst flops I've ever seen in my life. I'm not even kidding. He
does everything in slow motion. So,
but there was literally nothing there. Like Jokic was standing still.
No, I know. No, I'm on team.
Kyle
for this one,
runs into him and goes, "Ugh," and like falls down. And it was like, what are we doing? Why can we not call that like a flopping technical when we literally have that in the rule book now?
This year. And remember at the start of the year, I was like all scared that they were going to like overdo this flopping technical. Yeah. And it seemed like it was going to be everywhere because it was like impacting games early. Like
the first few games they had a number.
And I feel like it turned off like week 4.
Yeah,
like, I
very
feel like
early on.
And I don't know, but
those plays are the exact plays that I'm like, that's why we need them.
It needs to be. Yeah, no, I am team you on that. I just think that if it was just one or even two of the things, just fine them, whatever. But the fact, like 3 things,
I guess I didn't even know about the first throwing things on the. But I don't think it's crazy.
And like suspensions don't have to be like caught in the game. Like it can be like the NBA sees it from on high after the fact.
I'd say that's even more common.
Yeah. But
for it to
because I've seen people making the argument, well, he didn't get any text, so he didn't know he was going too far. I'm like, throwing things on the court is going too far.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Making a money sign at the refs, he knew he was getting fined for that. He had to have.
Yeah, and I mean, he got fined $100K for the heat pad throwing thing, and
I'm assuming that just kind of to encompass everything that he did.
Oh, really? That makes sense.
But I don't know. I just feel like not 3 strikes and you're out because there's obviously varying levels, but like
I heard Mark Davis say that even if they would have seen him throw it, then it would have just been a technical. So he doesn't think that he should get suspended. That's what Mark Davis said. But
did he also see the towel?
I guess I don't know.
Right before it,
I didn't even know about that until just now. So
yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like it felt weird.
Yeah, no, I don't necessarily agree with all the people saying that they would lock Draymond away in an insane asylum if he did that. You know, because I feel like it's like Draymond. The things that Draymond has done, I would say, are worse than that.
No, and I'm not saying Jamal Murray's like did anything that's like egregiously, but like I feel
you
like
just don't see it happen though, which I think makes it such a bad look. Like overall, and it's like not that crazy of a thing, obviously, but nobody does that. When have you seen a player throw something on the court? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the thing
that's why it's such
I'm
a bad
like,
look.
This is obviously being the most dramatic version of it possible, but like Mark Davis takes like another step back and slips.
It wasn't that close to him, but yeah.
Maybe it was the towel that was that close to him. One of them was like damn near under his foot.
Oh, yeah.
So it must have been the towel that was that close.
The heat pad went straight to KCP, and KCP picked it up and threw it back.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just obviously terrible look. Like when somebody is getting, in his opinion, boned by the refs, like people have gone through that before, but nobody has resorted to what Jamal resorted to. And that's just...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is weird because like the Nuggets are almost like Spursian with like how unemotional they are about things most of the time. Like Jokic will get fired up, but like they kind of just like business walk and do things.
I would say Jamal's always been pretty emotional. He's like the heart and soul of the team, for sure.
I don't think it's ever been like that. And I guess obviously
he's never
that's the point we're making.
he's never done something like that. But whenever there's like just jawing or like, I guess Bruce Brown embodied that for sure. The 1 year that he was here,
he was that guy.
He was that. But Jamal is definitely if we have a Draymond on our team, personality wise, it's definitely Jamal.
My favorite is like out of all the Nuggets personalities is the like Aaron Gordon just doesn't say anything, but he's just kind of always there whenever things are like escalating.
Yeah.
He's just always present. He's never like the best clip is when like LeBron and him are like pushing back and forth, getting positioning, and then LeBron like
chokes him. Yeah.
And then Aaron Gordon just like puts both his arms up like this.
I know, right? I remember watching that live and I was like, how does somebody get in a fight with Aaron Gordon? Like, watch anything with it. Just listen to him talk.
Well, and I think it's the same reason Jamal got mad is like, if you're just getting like physically tired out by someone, you just get irritated. And I'd imagine that Aaron Gordon would have that effect on anyone.
Yeah.
Of just like, this is too much work.
Yeah.
I'm getting tired. Anyway,
that was for LeBron to choke Aaron. That did not get enough like press, I feel like.
It's the face of the NBA, dude. They got to protect it.
That's crazy. Looking back
LeBron,
on that a year later.
Keep your kids away. Steph, keep your kids away. If you haven't picked up on it, I've been paying very much attention to this Kendrick Drake beef, and I love it. Everything about it.
Yeah.
I think that's like my fourth reference drop.
I don't think you've actually...
I've snuck them in then.
Oh,
yeah, because I said BBL Drizzy when you were talking about
yeah, that's
ball,
true. That's true.
Then, which is the greatest... people are calling it a distrumental. Because it was a distrumental instead of an instrumental. A distrumental.
Explain.
Do you know what I'm talking about? BBL Drizzy?
Is that a song title?
Oh, you're about to have your ears blessed. It's not even a song. It is just Metro Boomin released a beat that anyone that does a diss track on Drake can use, and it's called BBL Drizzy.
Oh, did you put it out on Spotify, or where is it on?
Uh-huh.
It is?
YouTube, maybe?
Okay. Well, no, I didn't see that.
There's one verse, and it's not even that, like, much to it. It's, I'm thicker than a Snicker. I'm thicker than your ninja, but it's actually the word ninja.
Yeah. Oh.
Don't act like you don't know me. These yams deserve a trophy. Hold on.
Who is this? Is this some nobody?
No, it's Metro Boomin, like the beat guy.
Yeah, but you're saying words.
Yeah, but so like in the beat
guy.
There's words in the beat.
Oh. So there's like ad libs.
Yeah, but it's like a whole verse. Because it's like, and then it's like a high pitched voice. It's like a girl singing. It's I gotta get through in my head. Hold on. I'm thicker than a Snicker. I'm thicker than your ninja. Don't act like you don't know me. These yams deserve a trophy. I need to just look up the words so I don't mess this up. Baby, it ain't no mystery. I got the best BBL in history. This cake will make you show up. I know you see this glow up. BBL Drizzy.
So did he do this after Drake said something like Metro go make some beats or something?
Beats. Yeah.
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 Because that's I don't know if you know. Did you what?
Do we want to touch on this whole Drake Kendrick thing?
I mean, we're kind of doing it right now.
I guess that's true.
I just feel like, I didn't know if you knew that, like, the reason this whole beef kind of started was because Metro and Drake. That's like where it kind of stems from. Is Metro hates Drake, and
it seems like Kendrick also had a, not even like as a fellow musician, but as a human, has a certain level of disdain for Drake.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, they do, but that was not. The reason why all of this started is because Metro was like, "Hey, I'm gonna ring up everybody I know that doesn't like Drake and make this album, especially Future, him and Future."
Oh, that's what the album where he says
both albums. We don't trust you, and we still don't trust you.
F the big three, brother. It's just big me.
Yeah. That was his featured on that. That was the reason they brought him in. It was because they know he's not a fan of Drake historically. And it's Future and Drake are like they've been fighting over this. I don't know about fighting over, but they are mad at each other because apparently one of them Drake broke the bro code. It was a girl that Future had that Drake was.
I thought Future was
with.
Married to someone like kind of prominent.
Sierra? That was a long time ago.
No,
like Russell Wilson's wife. No, Future's not. Future's
I must be
not
crossing
married.
wires with a different mumble rapper married to someone major.
Playboy Cardi.
Like I thought it was like Kendall Jenner or something.
Playboy Cardi was Travis Scott. Is that who you're thinking of?
No, I would not mix up Future and Travis Scott.
But Travis Scott and Kylie Jenner are.
Is one of the Migos married to someone kind of significant?
Offset is in Cardi B.
That's who I mixed it up.
That's
I'm not no okay.
So you wouldn't mix up Travis Scott and Future, who are both like trap melodic,
weird.
Yeah, they're like very similar. And then,
but in my brain, the way they look completely different.
Oh, okay, yeah. I guess
like visually, like they
they both have like braids. And
Future
stuff,
and Offset both have the braids, and like I feel like glasses I associate with both of them, like just sunglasses on all the time.
That's what I would say about Travis Scott too. There's both of those same things, but he's just skinnier.
Nope. The first thing that pops in my head for Travis Scott is the Homohoimi Noi with the where like he's wearing no shirt. It's at a concert. He has a mic stand above his head and he's shaking it.
Yeah, like going like rage mode.
Yeah.
But it's
he doesn't have glasses on in that video.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, for everyone wondering, the only rapper that's in my regular playlist is Kendrick Lamar, and that's the only reason that I've gone down into this rabbit hole of this rap beef at all.
Yeah, I didn't know about it until today that you were this invested in it. You were actually way more into it than I even was, which
because until I like started listening to Not Like Us, which is the latest Kendrick song, I think. Unless there's been another one I don't know about.
That's the latest that I know of, at least.
I think that's the best song out of all the beef, but Family Matters by Drake was pretty solid.
So is Push Ups. I like both of those.
No, I don't think that there's been bad. None of the songs I don't think have been terrible.
I thought the Snoop Dogg and Tupac AI one was pretty terrible.
I didn't even listen to that one.
Yeah.
Probably should.
So
because there's like a lot of digs.
A week after Drake dropped Push Ups, he, for some reason, was making a big deal about how Kendrick hadn't responded yet, even though he took multiple weeks to respond to the like that, verse.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of over. Also, I think if we go back, it all kind of started a little bit. Obviously, now that I know about the Metro thing, this isn't as true. But the thing that's funny to me is it was supposed to kind of be like a props to Kendrick, like it's the big three, me, J. Cole, and Kendrick Lamar. And then Kendrick didn't take it like that, and then it snowballed into Drake like being accused of being a pedophile on like a giant stage.
Yeah, which Kendrick has always been which is a normal human, like it's very admirable. You should be like that. Very no with all of the, sexual assault stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely don't want to vibe with all of that. But Kendrick he's very outspoken in like with the rap community about like dumb stuff like that he doesn't agree with. And so apparently there must be some sort of affiliation that Drake has with that whole world. I don't know. But
oh really? Drake, like the whole the people clowning on Drake that he's always been into underage girls.
I know that there's accusations. Oh. I'm saying that I don't know for sure. I don't like there's
that's true.
But obviously Kendrick at least seems like he thinks
he knows something.
Yeah. Either that or he's just playing on the accusations, but either way.
He's gone in on it enough times. I feel like he has to have something.
It feels pretty
because
real.
Then Drake could just release a song called Show Me the Receipts. And then all that the track would have to be would just be like water dripping or something. Just something weird. And then all it would have to be is show the receipts.
Like,
you know what
prove
I'm saying?
it?
Like, prove it. Prove that I'm a child toucher. Guy. I don't know.
Have you seen the It's Always Sunny clip meme where it's like Drake in the studio after Kendrick's calling him a pedophile or something, and it's Danny DeVito like in the studio with this It's Always Sunny guys, and he's like, let's make a song about how we don't touch kids. And like it fits so perfectly the situation.
But shout out to the greatest bar I think since I've that I know off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
Why you trolling like a B word? Ain't you tired? Trying to strike a chord. It's probably a minor. I butchered it, but give it a listen.
Yeah,
it's on. That one's on Not Like Us.
Not Like Us. Yeah.
So it's just all good. Anyway, that was the aggressive detour before the final series of the playoffs. Do you have anything else you wanted to add about the Nuggets corner? I feel like we fleshed out about every nook and cranny possible.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're probably pretty good on that. Yeah. What is this final series? I don't even know what we're talking about off the top of my head.
OKC Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
OKC definitively won in game 1. And yeah.
that is as far as we are right now. I guess they're
at halftime right now, but I haven't
right.
Mavs up by 6, but it does pose an interesting future episode. Can Luka win a title the way he plays basketball now?
I think it's possible.
Or does he have to slightly adapt? With how loaded the NBA is at the moment, where the worst teams really aren't that bad, and how strong the West is and how strong teams are, is having they have 2 guys. I don't want to disrespect Kyrie, but like the way that Luka plays is very heliocentric. You know, I don't know how feasible that is to win it all. Not to be a good team, not to be a good player, nothing but to have Mark Cuban hoist another championship trophy. Well, he's still in the team, but in concert.
He already did, I think, but I think he's still pretty involved. He's
he just sold, so he's not the majority owner, but he's still he's
still a minority owner, and he still sits courtside and does all that.
It's still pretty much honestly like the face brand as a part of the team that he was.
Yeah, I think it's there's not like any one majority owner. I'm pretty sure it's like more of a public.
Oh, it's like a bunch of bazillionaires have like 15% or whatever. Okay, that was a random percent, but yeah. So just a weird little business decision. I think overall he's still basically the Mavericks dude, from what I know at least. But yeah, so I guess this your question though, Luka, I think that I could see like a vision of like you could theoretically build like the perfect team to maximize this, what Luka is doing currently. What he does.
And this Mavs team, I think, is a pretty good example of how you can do that, because I think this is far from like the ideal, structure for that, but they still do it pretty well. Like it's like
guys buy into roles like they need to.
Yeah, and it's crazy how much they've recovered defensively after, that Kyrie trade. I thought that completely nuked their chances of being a competitive defensive team for the upcoming future. But now they're even better than they were before they made that Kyrie trade. Like, because, they got rid of Dorian Finney-Smith and Spencer Dinwiddie, who's not like a huge defensive piece, But obviously Dorian Finney-Smith was like arguably their biggest defensive piece at the time. But now they have Derrick Jones Jr., who's like literally everything that Finney-Smith was for them. And then Maxi Kleber is still there doing what he does. I mean, he's injured right now, but in the first series, he was being a factor. PJ Washington is a new addition this year. Daniel Gafford, both of those guys playing really good defense. And for a rookie, Derek Lively is like amazing defensively. As a big, he's been doing really good. And then on top of that, Luka has not looked bad in the playoffs defensively, and Kyrie has actually looked pretty good defensively in the playoffs. So when you add all of that up, like that, it looks like, especially in that first series, how they were winning those games was defensively. And that is just like, that is wild to imagine. Like that this Mavericks team is their core, or like their identity is winning on defense basically right now.
And I agree, but I don't know if they can defensively beat a team that like doesn't get tired.
You're saying the Thunder.
The Thunder. Like the Thunder are like, you guys want to run up and down the court for 48 minutes? Because we'll do that. Well, that's the idea of a good time. Like, just don't stop running. Just perpetually keep on running. Keep sprinting. Mm-hmm. We'd love to do that. Because no one else can do it better than us.
Yeah, I think.
You know what I mean?
I guess there's some defensive guys that can probably stick with that a little bit. Like I think Lively could, he can go up and down for sure. Derrick Jones Jr., Dante Exum, but like at that point, then you're playing a bunch of hustle guys. You can't have all of those guys on the floor at the same time, probably.
There's only been one time in history where a team full of hustle guys kind of worked, and it was like the 2018 Clippers, like the pre everyone going there, and it was like Lou Will. It's probably 18's too late. It's probably earlier than that.
I'd say Pat Bev and
it was like the Pat Bev, Lou Will.
Yeah, but Pat Bev and Montrezl Harrell are the only two like hustle guys. I guess Zubats, if you want to count Zubats, maybe
at that time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
because I mean, Lou Will, a lot of them were like kind of offensive flamethrowers. It was like Lou Will and
it was a bunch of guys that were like kind of starters.
Yeah. It was,
but yeah, it was just a very weird.
In terms of like Derrick Jones Jr., the only reason he's on the floor is he's like Josh Hart. Josh Hart is the like prototype of a hustle guy. You know?
Yes.
That type of a guy is what I'm more mean. Like having 3 Josh Harts in a lineup at a time who, you know, have different weaknesses. Like, you know, like one of them can't shoot at all. You know, Josh Hart's not a great shooter, but one of them can't shoot at all. And then another one's like a lot slower or, you know, something like that. That's not a great lineup. Like you're probably not going to see great results rolling that out every night. But yeah, this Thunder team overall definitely have that advantage of like, it's hard to stick with them. And they have like such a young group, very deep young group also.
And it's not even just the youth. It's like the talents that they have are like the most transitionable into half court offense or fast break offense. Like they don't care. They just do both very well.
Yeah, I for sure. Yeah, I would agree with that.
You know what I'm trying to say? Maybe I'm wording it poorly, but you know what I'm trying to say by that is like they have like because some teams are like don't like have great fast break offense. Yes.
Pacers they are great fast break.
Yes, but then when they get in the half court, they get kind of bogged down. And I feel like that's the most normal version of that because if you can't score a fast break layup, you have problems.
But you still need to have a fast team. You need to have like guys that are active and somebody who's a very good playmaker in the open floor, like a Tyrese Haliburton.
Everyone is active. That is the word. Uh-huh. Everyone is like active on the OKC side of things offensively. Uh-huh. Always. It's just a constant, like, it's a bunch of bees just kind of buzzing around, doing crazy stuff.
Yeah, and offensively in the half court, you have Shea.
SGA gets to the free throw line.
Or can just get you a bucket, like, whenever, however you want.
Have you seen someone who's like, everybody's talking about this Jokic MVP? F it. SGA highlights, and it's his free throw routine on loop over and over again. That's
funny. Also, it's not as bad as Joel Embiid last year, honestly. But
all he did was just a free throw line merchant.
Yeah, he shot like 11 or 12 free throws a game last year.
And if you hit a lot of them, that's a pretty easy way to get like 10 points.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm running out of steam physically, and I think it would just be beneficial to maybe hit the awards at a later date.
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot about that, honestly.
And time-wise, I think it also would be pretty cash
way better. Uh-huh.
So, yeah, dog.
Yeah, well,
diggity dog.
I guess that will be the end of today's episode. We will touch on awards here pretty soon. Just kind of recap those, the results of them.
We were pretty on the nose for just about all of them, but it'll still be good to kind of talk through and hit most of them. Yeah, for sure. Like, none of them took me by surprise, or took us by surprise, necessarily. I don't think.
Little bit, not surprised, I guess, but I was a little bit shocked. That's even more of a strong word, I feel like. Whatever less of a surprise is, by the Steph Curry Clutch Player of the Year. I really thought that was going to be DeRozan.
Oh.
I thought
but Curry was like the other guy we said, or
Curry,
you said.
I put at third, but I felt like if I was guessing where they would finish, I would have put Curry at second. Would have been my guess.
You also got Sixth Man of the Year wrong. So.
Well, that wasn't a guess. I guess I didn't even know. I noticed while editing these episodes that that's like how you kept kind of approaching it and saying that. But when coming into it, I was thinking I was just picking who I felt like deserved the award. You know?
Oh, I still pick Naz Reid, but I'm tracked.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll have a whole dive, a whole meat of the 84th episode or 85th, I don't know, on that.
84th, yeah, probably next episode.
Well, 84th, depending on when we get it recorded, might be
a different kind of episode.
A eulogy episode.
Oh,
if your Nuggets get swept.
I mean, yeah, we can. There'll probably be something we do.
Just kidding.
Yeah, hopefully
Anyway.
I'll get this out by sometime very soon. Hopefully, I doubt before Game 3 tomorrow, but we'll see what the magic fingers of mine can do. But yeah, so everybody just do all the stuff that we usually say. Patreon, buy me a coffee.
Patreon.com/Hoop Theory. Buy me a coffee. Subscribe on YouTube. Leave a comment if you are on one of the places that you can leave a comment. Like, subscribe. TikTok followers. Get to 5,000 before it shuts down so we can give away a jersey.
Which we have at least 6 months from last month. At least 5 months left.
Come on.
Yeah.
Let's get it going. Let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
We can do it. We appreciate all of you. I hope you get ill. Peace. I tried to do the opposite of what you say, and I kind of stuttered.
Yeah.
And struggled.
Yeah. I'm just going to plug the mailbag once again.
Shoot.
I haven't put out the clip yet, but just make sure you go and look at that when I put that out. But yeah, everybody needs to go and participate in this mailbag, because why wouldn't you if you watch our stuff? You don't want to talk to us. You don't want to hear what we have to say about your questions. You can ask us about anything. Honestly, I'm not going to put a limit. I mean, maybe if we're reading it live and we feel like, no, that's too far, like we're not going to do that. We'll make the decision there.
There's almost nothing that's too far. I'll answer almost anything.
I was going to say, I think we'll probably we'll read just about anything. We won't publicly endorse anything that is said necessarily, but we'll read it.
I will say anything unless I feel like it jeopardizes my employment.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we'll see on that, but take your best shot. We'll see see what you get.
Try to get me fired.
Yeah.
Do it.
But yeah, so stay happy, stay healthy, and we'll talk to you guys next episode.
Peace.